Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Review. So today I'm going to finish off the albums of the year. So it's been a pretty cool journey actually. It's taken me about 3.5 months, I suppose, something like that, to get through the albums of the year because it's like the first thing I started on. So I've loved it actually because it's brought out a lot of good music. You know what I mean, that I haven't heard before. So I've got a lot of stuff in my car now that I listen to that I never would have done because of this channel. And yeah, it's a bit sad to see the albums actually finished. Obviously we're going to do them as we go on. We're going to do like the years as they go, because hopefully the channel will carry on, and you know, at the end of the year I'll be able to do the albums of that year. But I don't know, I've really enjoyed doing it. But unless anyone's got any, you know, other suggestions of things I could do, because I'm doing the top songs of the year, this would be the albums of the year. So if any other good suggestions for me to do, I'd love to do it. You know what I mean? Going through the years for something else. I don't know what, but my mind's blank at the moment. But any suggestions would be great, because I'm going to miss doing it. So 2019 is another good year. And what I've got a load of honourable mentions as well. So I haven't got all day to do it because I'm at work again. So as far as the honourable mentions go, I will probably just say the names of the bands and the album, and that's it, you know, because I can't go into too much detail. I'll get told off by my boss. So we've got eight albums to talk about, which is brilliant. That's a lot. And then about 8 honourable mentions, I think. So nearly made it. What I've got here, I've got my number 5, 4 and 3 are so close they are tied. But I've got to do in an order, so I'll just talk about it. But they literally can swap around with each other. There's nothing between them. So go from number 8 first. Remember, these are my top albums. Number 8 is my least favourite of all my favourites. So number 8, Work of Art, Exhibits. So Work of Art are a Swedish AOR band. If you haven't heard them and you like FM and you like Toto, you like Journey, Survivor, just listen to them first. See if you like them. Obviously, check them out on YouTube. Great band. Really great band. Really consistent across all their albums. I think this is their 4th or 5th album. Some of my favourite tracks in here: Be the Believer, Another Night. Check out Another Night, you Survivor fans. Tell me what song it reminds you of. So yeah, I don't mind when bands do songs, you know, of their idols, you know, of the past, and they get a song that sounds very similar to something else. But listen, honestly, I won't say what song it sounds like, but listen to it, Another Night, from Work of Art on YouTube. And then Come Home is another great track. So they're a really good AOR band. Consistent, like I say. One of the best out there. Really are one of the best out there. I think every time they've had an album out, it's gone into my best albums of the year. So that's saying something. I'll give that 7 out of 10. Right. My number 7. The New Roses, Nothing But Wild. So these have made my charts as well before. German band. You wouldn't know they were German, honestly. They sound like a mix between AC/DC, sort of southern rock, a little bit of good Bon Jovi. It's really strange, but they don't sound German. They just don't. They're like the opposite of Rammstein, I tell you. But really good, fun band to listen to. Great vocalist, real rock and roll, but catchy as well at the same time. Running Out of Hearts is a great song. Nothing But Wild, the title track. Down by the River, check that one out. Maybe that be your introduction to them. If you don't know them, listen to Down by the River by the New Roses. And I'll give that 7 out of 10. My number 6, Tigers of Pantang, Ritual. So yeah, this is a band. I bang on about these and Praying Mantis. Bands from the early 80s, new wave of British heavy metal bands that have sort of revitalised in these last few albums into a different band altogether. Brilliant instrumentalists, brilliant guitarists, brilliant vocalists, excellent all round. Really love this band now. I'm really glad I started listening to them. So they're some of the standout tracks on this album, and there's lots of them, but Worlds Apart, Destiny, Rescue Me, Love Will Find a Way, melodic, heavy rock, definitely on the heavier side of melodic, heavy rock. You know, it's really good stuff. So now we're going to hit my, I'll give that 7 out of 10. We're going to hit my 3-way tie here. We've got my 5 for 4 and a 3. I'm going to, so whatever order I put these in, it could change around. So these are literally tied, but I've got to, you know, I've got to give them a score on that and where they fall. It's just one of those things. So number 5, Michael Sweet, and 10, carrying on with his solo stuff that is absolutely superb. So close to Stryper now, and I'm so glad he's like doing those sort of albums. So you get like a double dose of Stryper, if you like. It's brilliant. And carrying on, he's in full like metal mode. Someone who commented on one of my videos the other day, a Stryper video, put he's in full metal mode, and they're totally correct. He's totally Stryper mode, and you know, this is melodic metal without a doubt. And Shine is a great track. 10, the title track. With You Till the End. Son of Man closing the album off. And I'm not a real big fan of fast songs. That's this is the fastest song on the album. We've got Todd La Torre trading off vocals with Michael Sweet. It's a great track. 8 out of 10. My next one that's at a tie. Look at that. Eclipse. I've got to say this right. Paradigm. Probably fucked that up. But Paradigm. Fuck knows. Anyway, another great album by Eclipse. I think Eclipse are really like top notch. They've come into a bit of a, and they're probably thinking it themselves. They've done about 7 or 8 albums now. I think it might not be as many as that, but they are bashing out what the fans want. It's exactly what they want. They've been doing it for a few albums now, where they're top notch albums. And for me, it's like I want something a little bit different from them now. I don't know. You know where Heat went and done that album and it was a bit different. I think Eclipse need to do something, and not too drastic. Maybe not as drastic as that Heat album. But like I said, I feel sorry for some bands because they're giving the fans what they want. But it's hard. They want to experiment a little bit, and this album, it sounded exactly like the rest of the Heat albums, Eclipse albums, and Eclipse fans won't have a problem with that. But sometimes, you sort of, I don't know, it's probably where I've been listening to them for so many years. I wanted something a little bit different, but what you're getting is full-blown Eclipse, no surprises, and I'm an idiot actually, because if they fucking done something different, I'll probably complain about that. That's what fans do, innit? They're never happy, and I'm never happy because it's Eclipse. And I expect so much of him, and he's still brilliant. You can't expect more out of him, but you know what I mean. You just want something sometimes a little bit different. I think they maybe need to do something on their next album that's... Primal Fear have just done it. They give us the same metal. They have not upset any fans, but they did a couple of little tweaks, a couple of little changes that they've never done before on record, like an acoustic song, full acoustic song. 13-minute track, that sort of stood out on the album. I think they need to do something like that. Maybe some more epic stuff, Eclipse, because they can do it. They can do it. But I'll give that 8 out of 10. I'll probably just run through some tracks actually. Viva La Victoria, excellent single. Shelter Me, slow song. United, probably one of my favourite songs on it. When the Winter Ends, great stuff. But not. They've scored 10 out of 10 before for me. It's maybe if this album came out a few years earlier and it's one of their albums in the middle of all that, it probably would have got a 10 out of 10. I think it's just where I've listened to them so much. I don't know. That's 8 out of 10. My number 3, remember this is a tie with these last two, Crazy Licks, Forever Wild. And these guys they're really good. They are really good, and this is probably my favourite album from them. Silent Thunder, sounds like something out of an 80s movie. Brilliant. Wicked, Breakout, and my favourite track of the album, and that's Eagle. What a song. What a song. Listen to that. Crazy Licks, Eagle. Go on YouTube, listen to that. If you don't like Crazy Licks and you'll like them after that, there you go. And I'll give that 8 out of 10 also. So you've got them three that are tied, basically. Michael Sweet, 10. Eclipse, Paradigm, and Crazy Licks, Forever Wild. Brilliant albums, tied for me. Right, number 2. Alter Bridge, Walk the Sky. So, you know, I'm a massive Alter Bridge fan, and their first 4 albums for me were like 10 out of 10s, faultless, perfect albums. This could be the same problem I'm having with Alter Bridge that I had with Eclipse, that I've liked them for so long and now I don't know. It's like, but I like it. I love this album better than The Last Hero. I love the keyboard sounds on it. The songs that had a lot of keyboards in were some of my favourites. Godspeed is a great song. I love Godspeed. It sounds like, beginning of it especially, sounds like something out of a blooming 80s like science fiction movie. I love it. Indoctrination is good, sort of brooding, really sort of chugging slow song. Pay No Mind. I love the 80s, so that's why Pay No Mind's such a great track. It's that chorus. Well, it's not actually the chorus, it's the bit after the chorus. As the last there falls, who'll be the first in line? That bit. I love that bit. And Walking on the Sky is another great track. So I noticed with Walk the Sky, I know it was written differently. The band wrote differently. They wrote separately, I think, and then they got their ideas together after. But the difference with this album, which is really strange, is the verses for me stand out more than the choruses. They've created some of the best verses they've ever done on albums on this one. But it's like the choruses are probably just as good as... they're pretty brilliant, but the verses are like overtaking them for their excellence. You know, real artistic verses on this album. I can't believe how good they were, and that's on most of these songs. They stand out in a song, which is a bit unusual. It's usually the chorus. But great album by them, and they are experimenting, so you can understand, you know, they're doing things different, and that's what a lot of bands, but they don't stray so far. When they said they're going to use keyboards, they weren't, you know, they didn't come out of a fucking Pet Shop Boys fucking album, did they? They didn't upset fans that much. They just used them to add to the music. The only thing I would say in the last couple of albums for me, production-wise, I think they're going to need to go more basic. You know, if you put on Blackbird and then put on Walk the Sky, listen to the difference in the production. At first listen, you think, oh yeah, that production's huge, you know, for that album, the new album. But then you start to listen to it, and you can't. It's a problem a lot of bands having now. They can't separate the instruments. It's like a wall of sound. It's like it's one big noise, every instrument. When you go to Blackbird, you can hear the guitars cutting through. You can hear the drums and the bass coming through. It's just my opinion. You're probably going to fucking have a go at me for it. But I do believe some of this newer production, some bands are suffering for it. My opinion, as always. My number 1, Queensryche. By the way, I give Alter Bridge, Walk the Sky 8 out of 10. Queensryche, The Verdict, number 1. Can't do no wrong, Queensryche, at the moment. I don't like this quite as much as Condition Human, but it's very fucking close. It's so close. A bit more progressive, I'd say. This album takes more spins to get used to, which ain't always bad. Sometimes when it takes a few more spins, that's when an album really comes to life, and the deeper stuff in it gets you later on. But I could have named every track on this album as a good track. Blood at 11, single. Man the Machine, another single, I think. Light Years, where they slow it down. This is my Queensryche I prefer, when they slow it down a little bit. Inside Out is a great track. Dark Reverie, love it. That's their slowest song on the album, a sort of acoustic ballady type thing. Then it goes heavy. Bent, what an song that is, really progressive. Launder the Conscience, Portrait. You know what I mean? So I'm naming nearly every song here because it's a great, great album. It's a shame about Scott Rockenfield going off this. You know, I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to knowing who's playing drums. I probably wouldn't have really I suppose there's some drum experts, you know, that would know that that's a different drummer, but unless I was told, I probably wouldn't have known. Todd the Tour is a great drummer as well. It sort of put me off a bit knowing that he's drumming. It doesn't feel like a, do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a proper band because he's doing the drumming and the singing. I know it is. I know I think they got the ex-Camelot drummer, I think now. So maybe on the next album it won't feel that way. But I don't know, it just felt a little bit weird how he's drumming and singing. I know he's not doing it at the same time. I'm not fucking stupid. But you know what I mean? It's like when a artist brings out a whole album, he's doing every instrument. It's a bit weird. Just my opinion. And I give Queensryche the verdict 9 out of 10. So I'm going to do honourable mentions, but I'm literally just going to mention the album and the artist because, look, I've had 16 minutes of my break already and I've fucking got to go back to work. So, Starbreaker, Dysphoria. Excellent. These are all honourable mentions, by the way. I didn't make the list, but nearly. Avantasia, Moonglow. Tesla, Shock. Underrated, by the way, that one. Tool, Fear Inoculum, came back after an album after having 57 years off and made an album. I really got into it first of all, but I don't know, they're a required listen at certain times, but I do find them really interesting to listen to sometimes. They're really good. Crash Diet, Rust, good album. The Defiance, Zokosha. Fucked if I know, I'm really bad at pronouncing shit. Sweet Oblivion, Jeff Tate, guesting on that album. Love Killers album. That's Tony Harnell as well, TNT. So you can see 2019 was probably one of the strongest years of metal altogether. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So that's the end of my years. I'm a bit upset actually. I think I might fucking cry, but been loving doing it. Really been loving the years. I mean, of course, now it gives me more time to do reactions and shit like that. So I can relax and not have to get these lists together. But I have loved doing it. Like I say, if you've got any ideas of something else I can do and go from all the way from the 80s and 90s and 2000s, 2001s and 2000s again, you know, that'd be great. I don't know what to do. So I'm doing the albums of the year. I've done the albums of the year now. I'm doing the best songs of the year. What else can I do? Give me some ideas, please. Please, please, please. I need to keep these charts going. All right, thank you very much. Thanks for listening. And please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, red button. Thank you very much.